Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
I'm seeing all kinds of things on my screen here.
Oh, that's right. We had that up there from yesterday from John Lazito.
Yeah, it's all kinds of crazy and wild.
That's everything. That's what I see.
Okay. Well, now we know what Pete sees from behind the board. It's all kinds of
there
squares,
you go.
and there we are.
Yeah, that's what it is all of the sources that I have. That's the
Gotcha.
director's monitor.
Gotcha.
But I put that up there when musical guests are here so they don't get distracted.
Good idea. Very good idea. So now I've got this half of a black wall there. We may have to do something with cameras
Yeah,
later.
well,
so we'll
I
fix that
repositioned
later.
everything quickly last night. And
That's okay. All right, we'll figure it out at the break.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Pete?
busy.
What
Monday I taped Harry Rock and with another Senior Center Presents.
Yes, I know.
Yesterday I
Thank you for
taped John
that.
Lazino. We had a special guest, a 9-year-old girl singing a song.
Really?
I won't tell you anymore.
Okay.
It's a
Ooh,
surprise.
That's our monthly entertainment for June. So we're getting all set.
I'll be editing that today.
Oh, I'm
it's so
excited.
busy.
I know.
And
I
then
know.
last night,
Tons of
Conservation
meetings.
Commission, and a
Yes.
special airport, it went like 15 minutes. I knew that was going to be quick.
Okay.
Conservation, 3 hours, guaranteed.
Oh my gosh.
They were done by like 9:30.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a guarantee, 3 hours for them.
Wow. Do they meet? How often do they meet?
Every 2 weeks. They're just that busy. They have that many
Wow.
things on their plate.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was a
That
little
is
busy yesterday, too. So, just trying to catch a nap in between.
Mhm. Oh my goodness.
Because I was here from 5:30 to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, just about 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
It's been a busy time.
yeah.
It's been a busy time.
Hopefully it'll air out a little bit, and then or I can get some help, or both.
And that would be great. Both would be ideal.
Both would be
right?
helpful, yeah.
Both would be really ideal. So hopefully that will happen.
Yep.
Well,
We'll see if I make it through the budget. That's all.
oh my god, I can't even think about the budget.
That's
Like I have completely forgotten
2
about
weeks
the
away.
budget right now, because we are focused on other things. We have all kinds of things happening at the senior center coming up.
Yeah,
we'll
you're
talk
doing
a lot about that.
slow open, right?
We are doing a slow, gradual open, which is not quite as slow and gradual as we had originally planned a week and a half ago after last week's announcement by the governor. So I was at the senior center most of the day on Saturday, entirely rewriting the June newsletter. I had it 95% done. I had spent 3 weeks taking my time, Mary Lou and I figuring everything out. And then the governor pushed up, stuff that was happening. Oh my God. And by
Right?
5, yep. And by 5 o'clock that day, the emails among the directors were flying. Has everyone else's day been completely thrown into chaos? Has everyone also completely thrown out their June newsletter? Some of the newsletters had already, gone to press.
But they don't understand the politicians anywhere. Like, Boston, whatever, is they need to really think how they say things through.
Yes.
Hey, we're opening up the businesses because they really need it.
Yes.
Some of the government functions we're going to slowly open back up.
Yep.
That's what they should have said.
Yep.
Oh no, we're open because it
Yep.
was political pressure.
Yes.
And it was because they should have started doing this long ago.
Yes. Gradually.
They should have started doing it long ago, and now all of a sudden, oh crap, they finally caught us.
Yeah.
We need to open up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it was,
Yeah.
too.
And, my other big beef is that could we please get even a 24-hour heads up? Because our phones
God, no.
start ringing before he's done speaking on TV.
Right.
And the seniors are going, oh, did you hear what the governor said? Well, no, we didn't because we're all working. We're putting your meals together for you. We're not sitting in front of our TVs. So we have no notice.
Right.
This is not the first time this has happened. So that's got me a
Oh,
little,
I like the other
got
thing,
me a
too, is
little
when
on edge.
I get 3-4 emails during the day, and people are like, well, are you going to respond to this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm taping 3 hours of programming, and I'm on the
Exactly.
air, and, it's like, I
Exactly.
just don't sit here.
Right.
I do sit here, but I'm
Yes.
not sitting here just to sit here.
I know. I try and do, when I send emails to people, I try to put things kind of like, at your convenience, meaning, listen, you don't have to, sometime within the next few days, you
Right.
can answer, you can respond to this. It's not the earth
And that's how
isn't dying.
most of mine were, but then
Or
sometimes
if it's a high priority, I put a high priority. It's like, this one I need right away. So
Yeah. And sometimes, you don't know whether, you're dealing with a politician, and,
Sure.
that's tough. That's a tough
Yes.
call.
Yes.
Because it's like, I try to check during the shows just to make sure there's nothing super important out there
Yeah. Yeah.
that I'm missing.
Yeah,
But-
and it's hard for you, Pete, because people are throwing, oh, we need an extra meeting. Oh, we called an emergency meeting. And all of a sudden it's like, okay.
Right. Yeah. I got 2 from Karen. Karen goes, oh, thanks for doing that one. I need this one too.
I did see somewhere, maybe I read it, I don't remember where I read it, maybe in the Republican, maybe on an email. Are they extending the open meeting law virtual? So
As of right
right?
now, I checked with law. They've been sending out regular emails, thank God, because I just
Yeah.
don't, sometimes it slips my brain. But right now, it's set to expire the 15th of June.
right?
But there are apparently 2 bills, one in the House and one in the
Yes.
state Senate, that may extend it till September.
September 1.
Which should be
that's
nice
what I read,
because, then if I do go away and I'm still by myself,
yeah.
I can facilitate those from wherever I'm at.
Yep,
So
exactly.
that's helpful.
So,
And I know, whether it's rational or irrational, that's a whole different argument. But there's some people on the staff that are still not comfortable being in a big room right now.
Yep. I totally understand
And
that.
that's, whether the debatable, whether it's irrational or rational, it's another debate. But
Yep.
they're just not comfortable.
Well,
so.
and for some people, I get it. They are, their health is compromised, and possibly we don't know about all that stuff. And so, yeah, I totally understand that. So,
Yep.
yeah, I saw that. I must have read it. I think I read it in the Republican yesterday, and I thought, ooh, good idea. Yeah, let's extend this through the summer and get us all through there. So. All right, well, we have some famous birthdays. Today is Wednesday, May 26th. We have some really interesting famous birthdays, but I'll start with the first one. It is the birthday of the late singer-songwriter actress Peggy Lee. She was born on this day in 1920 in Jamestown, North Dakota. She died January 21st, 2002 at the age of 81. Now, Peggy Lee was not born Peggy Lee. She was actually born Norma Dolores Eggstrom. That was her birth name. Both during and after her high school years, she sang for small sums of money on local radio stations. See, it all starts on the local radio, Pete. In October,
Sure.
right? In October of 1937, radio personality Ken Kennedy of WDAY in Fargo, which at that time was the most widely heard station in North Dakota, auditioned Eggstrom and put her on the air that day, but not before he changed her name to Peggy Lee. In 1940, Peggy Lee took a job singing at the Dollhouse in Palm Springs, California. Here, she developed her trademark sultry purr, having decided to compete with the noisy crowd with subtlety rather than volume. And I love this story. So this is a quote from Peggy Lee before she passed away. She said, she was singing and nobody was listening. So she said, I knew I couldn't sing over them, so I decided to sing under them. The more noise they made, the more softly I sang. When they discovered they couldn't hear me, they began to look at me. Then they began to listen. As I sang, I kept thinking to myself softly with feeling. The noise dropped to a hum. The hum gave way to silence. I had learned how to reach and hold my audience, softly and with feeling. In 1942, Peggy Lee had her first number one hit, Somebody Else Is Taking My Place, followed in 1943 by Why Don't You Do Right, which sold more than 1 million copies and made her famous. In 1958, she recorded her own version of the song Fever. Her new version of Fever was a hit and was nominated in 3 categories at the first annual Grammy Awards, which was held in 1959. So there's a little trivia for you, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Lee starred opposite Danny Thomas in The Jazz Singer, 1952, a remake of the Al Jolson film. She played an alcoholic blues singer in Pete Kelly's Blues in 1955, for which she was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. So happy birthday to the late Peggy Lee. And in a few minutes, we'll listen to her version of Fever. It is also the birthday today of the late John Wayne, actor born May 26, 1907 in Winterset, Iowa. He passed away June 11, 1979 at the age of 72. John Wayne was born Marion Robert Morrison. As a child, he received his distinctive nickname Duke while living in Glendale, California. He had a dog by that name, and he spent so much time with his pet that the pair became known as Little Duke and Big Duke. Out of school, John Wayne worked as an extra and a prop man in the film industry. With The Big Trail in 1930, Wayne received his first leading role thanks to director Raoul Walsh. Walsh is often credited with helping him to create his now legendary screen name, John Wayne. During the 1930s, Wayne started developing his man-of-action persona, which would serve as the basis of many popular characters later on. Wayne's career as an actor took another leap forward when he worked with director Howard Hawks in Red River. That film was done in 1948. Also around this time, Wayne received praise for his work in the film Fort Apache with Henry Fonda and Shirley Temple. Other films include Sands of Iwo Jima in 1949. She wore a yellow ribbon, and Rio Grande with Maureen O'Hara. Wayne worked with O'Hara on several films, perhaps most notably The Quiet Man. That was in 1952. Playing an American boxer with a bad reputation, his character moved to Ireland, where he fell in love with a local woman. That was Maureen O'Hara. This film is considered John Wayne's most convincing leading romantic role by many critics. And of course, when Gary and I were in Ireland twice, we went to visit where they filmed The Quiet Man. So it was kind of fun. Wayne won his first Academy Award for Best Actor for True Grit in 1969. He played Rooster Cogburn, an eye-patching drunkard and lawman who helps a young woman named Maddie, played by Kim Darby, track down her father's killer. A young Glenn Campbell joined the pair on their mission. Rounding out the cast was Robert Duvall and Dennis Hopper. They were among the bad guys the trio had to defeat. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen True Grit, and I didn't remember, that whole cast of characters. I actually didn't realize there were so many of the, famous people in that one, other than John Wayne, of course.
Okay.
So now I'm going to do one more birthday, because this one, we have John Wayne, the Western guy, and this one kind of goes along with it. It's also the birthday of the late James Arness, who was an actor born May 26, 1923 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He passed away June 3rd, 2011 at the age of 88. After his discharge from the Army, Arness entered Beloit College in Wisconsin. He began here you go again, Pete. He began his entertainment career as a radio announcer at Minneapolis station WLOL, which cracks me up in this day and age, LOL.
Sure.
In 1945. Determined to find work in films, Arness hitchhiked to Hollywood, where he made the rounds to agencies and casting calls and soon began acting and appearing in films. He was a close friend of John Wayne, and they shared a birthday. And he co-starred with him in Big Jim McLean, Hondo, Island in the Sky, and The Sea Chase. So we starred with him in 4 films. John Wayne actually, here's a trivia for you, Pete. John Wayne actually recommended James Arness for the leading role of Marshal Matt Dillon in the longtime favorite television show Gunsmoke. That's where James Arness really became famous, playing Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke made Arness and his co-stars, Milburn Stone, who played Doc, Amanda Blake, who played Miss Kitty, Dennis Weaver, Ken Curtis, who played Festus, Burt Reynolds, and Buck Taylor, world famous, and ran for 2 decades, becoming the longest-running primetime drama series in U.S. television history by the end of its run in 1975. Arness has the distinction of having played the role of Dylan in 5 decades, 1955 to 1975, that was in the weekly series. Then in Gunsmoke, Return to Dodge, that was in 1987, another decade, and then 4 more made-for-television Gunsmoke films in the 1990s. In Europe, James Arness reached cult status for his role as Zeb McCann in the Western series How the West Was Won. He was the older brother of actor Peter Graves. So all these fun facts about James Arness, and I thought it was really cool that both John Wayne and James Arness were friends and big, Western guys. So it is 6:17. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the birthday of Peggy Lee, we're going to listen to her version of the song Fever. We'll be back.
Never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, a fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name, and you know I'm gonna treat you right. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, a fever all through the night. Everybody's got the fever, that is something you all know. Fever isn't such a new thing, fever started long ago. Romeo loved Juliet, Juliet, she felt the same. When he put his arms around her, he said, Julie, baby, you're my flame, now give us fever. When we kiss us, fever with thy flaming youth. Fever, I'm a fire, fever, yea, I burn forsooth. Captain Smith and Pocahontas had a very mad affair. When her daddy tried to kill him, she said, Daddy, oh, don't you dare, he gives me fever. With his kisses, fever when he holds me tight. Fever, I'm his missus, Daddy, won't you treat him right? Now you've listened to my story, here's the point that I have made. Chicks were born to give you fever, be it Fahrenheit or centigrade, they give you fever. When you kiss them, fever, if you live, you learn. Fever, till you sizzle, what a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:21. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Might be a mind bender question.
All
I
right.
said to my girlfriend I was going to leave up my Christmas tree until the pandemic was over.
Okay.
When can I take it down?
Oh, that is a really
There's
good
a mind
question.
bender for you.
That is a mind bender.
Because I
You
wanted
know?
to keep it up to keep that evergreen saying we'll get through this type of thing,
Yep.
that
Yep.
type of thing.
Yep.
And it's still sitting there. And every night I have it on my automatic timer. It comes on and goes off at sunset.
Well, I think that we're not out of the woods yet. So, I mean, I'm still.
The bet with her was it would be up till this coming Christmas.
Well, I definitely would not be taking it down before like August 1st. I'm still going with the original governor's, kind of August 1st sort of thing, middle of August. I don't know. I think right now, I can't give you an end date, but I
Right?
could say right now I think it still needs to be up.
Okay.
That's my
Some people think I'm crazy for leaving it up, but I wanted some symbols
No.
saying, hey,
absolutely.
we're still in this,
Yep.
and that those little lights come on. It's not that I'm lazy or anything.
I
It's
love
just
it. No, I love it.
I was like, it's gonna stay up.
I've had friends that have had, family members in the service, and they've kept their tree up until they can get home because they weren't there for Christmas. And so, there
Right.
are Christmas trees that have been up for a long time. So,
Okay.
no, leave it up, Pete. That's my.
Mine's a fake, so it can stay there. It's not gonna go. It's not gonna be a problem.
It's good. We're good. Leave it up there. We're not out of the woods yet, and we don't want to give people that impression.
It's like the people have the playoff beards, that type of thing.
Exactly. So it is the fourth Wednesday of the month. So I just want to mention that second hour we will be joined by Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. I had texted Joe the other night and I said, Joe, do you want to come into the studio? Or are you going to call in? Or are you going to Zoom in? What would you like to do? And he texted me back and he said, no, I'm planning to come in. He said, I really would like to come in. He wanted to come in last month and something came up and he had a phone in. But he said, and I said to him, I said, do you think we'll have anything to talk about? So he texted me and he said, yeah. He said, I'm going to come in. And he goes, yeah, that's a good thing. I have 3 days to kind of figure out what we can possibly talk about.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And Harry Rock has on the new director of the Chamber of Commerce this morning.
Oh, that's great. Is the director coming in or is he
I believe he's
Zooming
coming in.
or yeah.
He's coming in.
Good. That's wonderful. I've been reading about him in the Westfield News, so that's nice.
Eric Ouellette.
Yes, Eric Ouellette. It's nice that that they were finally able to replace Kate Phelan and get somebody in here.
That was a bit of a slog, as they say.
It took a while. This was a hard time for people to start a new job. It was just challenging. We've been through some COA directors in the Pioneer Valley. We have one that director left to take a different position as a town administrator, and her replacement lasted 4 months. And 2 weeks ago, we're getting the email saying, "Okay, well, it's been nice to meet all you people, but I'm out of here." So it's not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart. Bless you. All right. So anyway, Joe will be with us second hour, and we obviously will be talking about COVID. We'll be talking about the numbers. We'll be talking about vaccine and opportunities. We will be talking about the new phasing in of whatever we're starting to consider the new normal to be. So lots more going on, and I'm going to keep going with some birthdays because we have a lot to cover also with some senior center announcements and what's happening in our neck of the woods. So today is the birthday of singer Stevie Nicks. Singer-songwriter, born May 26, 1948 in Phoenix, Arizona. And I cannot believe, I wish JPEG Luca were here for this. I can't believe that Stevie Nicks is 73 years old today.
Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. Ouch. Boy, do I feel old. When Stevie Nicks was a teenager, the family was quite musical, and the family moved to Palo Alto, California from Arizona, where she attended Menlo Atherton High School. There, Stevie met classmate Lindsey Buckingham, a guitarist and fellow songwriter. The two shared a close bond and forged a strong musical partnership. They became romantically involved and released an album together. In 1975, they joined Fleetwood Mac, which was the group had already formed, but they had lost some people and they needed replacements. So the newly forged band quickly recorded a collection that went straight to number one and sold 3 million copies. Stevie Nicks' tracks, especially Rhiannon and Landslide, were smash hits and transformed the singer into an overnight sensation. By 1976, the band, now this is like not that much longer after they all got together, the band's personal lives were in total disarray. The rigors of touring had strained Nicks's voice, and she sought medical help. The band was also in the middle of an emotional upheaval, and all of its romantic relationships disintegrated. The McVies decided to divorce. Fleetwood and his wife separated, and Nicks and Buckingham were in the midst of a tumultuous split. However, the band continued to record together, and their next album, Rumors, which came out in 1977, became a record-setting hit. It spent 31 weeks at number one on the Billboard 200 chart, went platinum in both the United States and the UK, and earned the group a Grammy Award for Album of the Year in 1978. Stevie Nicks' song Dreams, inspired by the group's dissolving relationships, was the band's first number one single. The band continued to put out albums, including Tusk and Fleetwood Mac Live, but Nicks felt the draw towards solo work. So in 1981, she released Belladonna, which featured vocalist Tom Petty and Don Henley. The album reached number one on the Billboard chart and featured the hit singles Edge of 17 and Leather and Lace, as well as a duet with Petty called Stop Dragging My Heart Around. So, happy 73rd birthday to Stevie Nicks. Again, kind of hard to believe. So, Pete, I was sharing this with Gary last night. We were watching Jeopardy last night, and it was prompting all of these great little trivia facts that I could share with Gary, saying, oh, that person has a famous birthday tomorrow, and I can tell you this, that, and the other thing. So it was kind of fun. And this person's name got brought up last night. It is the birthday of sportscaster Brent Musburger. He is 82 years old today. He was born on this day in 1939 in Portland, Oregon. He was with, Brent Musburger was with CBS Sports from 1973 until 1990, and he was one of the original members of their program, the NFL Today. Now, here is the trivia. This you have to tuck away, and I think this should appear on some trivia game at some point. Brent Musburger, Pete, is credited with coining the phrase March Madness.
Really?
To describe the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament while covering the Final Four. I said to Gary, who knew? I didn't know Brent Musburger was the one who coined March Madness. And, that is like, that is such a well-known phrase now. Everybody talks about March Madness. Excuse me. Yeah. While at CBS, Musburger also covered the Super Bowl, NBA Finals, the World Series, U.S. Open Tennis, and the Masters Golf Tournament. He joined ESPN and ABC Sports in 1990, and he continued to cover the NBA Finals, as well as hosting Monday Night Football and providing play-by-play for Saturday Night Football. Brent Musburger covered the Indianapolis 500, U.S. Open and British Open Golf, the World Cup, the Belmont Stakes, and the College Football National Championship, among other big events. Now, I have to say, That is, not only is it a lot of sports, but it's a lot of different sports.
Yeah.
So that's
He's one of the best play-by-play guys of nearly of all time. There's a couple really good ones.
Yes, I agree. But, that takes a real talent. You have to know all of those sports. That's a lot of sports to know. I mean, I just listed about 7 or 8 different, because, it's not just football and basketball, but, then you're throwing in tennis and golf and, drag racing and, all this other stuff. That's pretty amazing. Currently, Brent Musburger is the lead broadcaster and managing editor at Vegas Stats and Information Network, which is VSIN.
Yep.
And radio play-by-play voice for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yep.
At 82. He's 82 today.
Yeah.
Happy 82nd birthday to Brent Musburger.
He got smart and realized all the money's in the betting.
Yeah, right. So he's in. I know. I'm thinking to myself,
I think
wow.
he found the network.
So
And that's actually quite popular. It's carried on some cable systems.
Is
I
it
know.
really?
Yeah, VSIN, yeah.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's
you've
carried
been out
on.
there.
Carried on. I've never been to Vegas, but it's.
Oh, you've never been to Vegas? Oh, that's
No,
Kenny.
that's
Kenny's the one
Kenny.
that
Yeah, Kenny.
Kenny's there like at least once a year.
But yeah, well, a couple times a year. But it's the sports betting aspect of it. I mean, I know Nesson carries VSIN overnight and stuff like that.
Really?
People are big into the fantasy sports and sports betting, and that's what they specialize in.
Yeah. So, wow, going strong at 82. I'm
Yeah.
really impressed. All right, it is 6:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. So, I wanted to find, I was looking for a song, that was kind of like a Western that I could play in honor of John Wayne. And I found there are a lot of songs about John Wayne. So I found this song. It's called John Wayne, appropriately titled. And this one is by Seals and Croft. So in honor of his birthday, let's listen to John Wayne by Seals and Croft. We'll be back.
Do I feel that I'll prove a match to this world? Does Dean Kelly sing in the rain? Yes, I have a mind with a mind of its own, a soul like the soul of John Wayne. Wagons roll, move 'em out till the end of the trail. Our love will never fail. Wagons roll. Till the end of the trail, our love will never fail. Wagons roll. Don't worry, 'cause I wouldn't hurt you, John Wayne. Do I feel that I'll prove a match to this world? Does Dean Kelly sing in the rain? Yes, I have a mind with a mind of its own, a soul like the soul of John Wayne. Wagons roll, move 'em out till the end of the trail. Our love will never fail. Wagons roll. Don't worry, 'cause I wouldn't hurt you, John Wayne.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes and Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and right now I'm in the studio with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. Apparently you stumped Danny Nason. He said he's never heard that song before.
The one about John Wayne?
Yes.
By Sales and Crofts? Wait till you hear the next one I play, Danny. It's it's another one of those. Wow, who knew? But good. It's a fun song though. I liked it. It was really good. I mean, and that's not the only one about him. There are other songs titled John Wayne, and I, but I like this one the best. And I like Seals and Crofts, so that was kind of fun. But thanks for weighing in there, Danny. Glad to hear that you're listening. So let's see. Well, let's do one more birthday. This one is for you, Pete, because whenever there's an astronaut having a birthday, we have to talk about that. So today is the birthday of Sally Ride, the late Sally Ride, astronaut and astrophysicist. She was born on this date in 1951 in Los Angeles, California. She passed away in July 23rd of 2012 at the age of 61. Unfortunately, she died of pancreatic cancer, so that was unfortunate. But Dr. Sally Ride studied at Stanford University before beating out 1,000 other applicants for a spot in NASA's astronaut program. After rigorous training, Ride joined the Challenger shuttle mission on June 8, 1983, and became the first American woman in space. As a mission specialist, she helped deploy satellites and worked other projects. The next year, Sally Ride again served as a mission specialist on a space shuttle flight in October. She was scheduled to take a third trip, but it was canceled after the tragic Challenger accident on January 28, 1986. After the accident, Ride served on the presidential commission that investigated the space shuttle explosion. In 2001, Sally Ride started her own company to create educational programs and products known as Sally Ride Science to help inspire girls and young women to pursue their interests in science and math. On July 23, 2012, Ride died at the age of 61 following a 17-month battle with pancreatic cancer. She will always be remembered as a pioneering astronaut who went where no other American woman had gone before. This month, it was announced that Ride will be one of the first women to be commemorated with a new series of quarters from the U.S. Mint. How about that? Mm-hmm. I think that was pretty cool. And when I read that, I was like, oh, May of 2021, it was announced, blah, blah, blah. I went, oh, that's this month. That was like within the last couple weeks.
Well, I know they the
that's
Mint just released a Krista McAuliffe.
Did they?
A silver dollar.
Mm-hmm. See, so
dollar.
they're focusing on those female astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about
I know because I bought one.
Stuff going on. You did?
Yes.
So it's out already?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
There's a couple other things I have my eye on buying. I'm starting to buy a little bit of precious metals.
Ah, okay.
Stuff for my collection. For
your collection, Pete. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit. Before Joe gets here, we can talk a little bit about COVID vaccine stuff because I have new information hot off the press. So first of all...
That'll change at the whim of the governor.
I know, right? No, I know. Well, I think this is actually really good news. It has to do with vaccines for the homebound. Now,
did they finally get that program rolled out?
I think not only did they get it rolled out, they're ramping it up is basically what's happening because for several months we were working on vaccines for the homebound, creating our list, doing all this stuff. But then when it actually came time to implementing the program and we were trying to help people to register for that, what the state at that time, Pete, was defining as homebound, honestly, like you practically had to be in a coma. I mean, they were so strict on who they were considering homebound. You know, people that we considered homebound, they were saying, no, they can get to a vaccine clinic. And yeah, with, and a ridiculous amount of effort on a lot of people's part. But anyway, now that vaccines are readily available, that the guidelines are much less strict.
Interesting how that is, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can't even tell you. It was just ridiculous. We had a woman who was like 105 or 103, and the family, I mean, it took the family, I don't know how many hours to get her to a vaccine clinic. Really? I mean, because there were so many mobility issues. Anyway, if she had only waited. Okay, so here you are, folks. Any individual who has trouble getting to a vaccine site is eligible for the homebound program. Individuals can write this number down, 833-983-0485 to register for an in-home vaccination. The registration phone line is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and has representatives who speak both English and Spanish, as well as translation services available in more than 100 languages. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the way it should be. So once again, if you have someone, and we were still getting calls even last week for people, who are families, for people who are homebound saying, they haven't gotten the vaccine yet. But we really can't get them to a vaccine site.
Sometimes I hate to say this, but the bigger the government, the bigger the stupid.
Oh my gosh. Honestly.
Because they overthink stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like we had to the staff practically had to offer up our firstborn child in order to get somebody on the homebound list and registered, a month ago. But now it is much easier. So again, and if you don't get a chance to write this number down, just call us at the Senior Center. We'll give it to you. But it's 833-983-0485. Just call. It's so much easier. You don't have to have a computer. You don't have to be tech savvy. You don't have to, keep pushing the refresh button. You can just call that number. They'll register you and they will get somebody out. By and large, for the most part, they're trying to use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine for homebound, so they only have to go out one time.
Smart.
So as far as I know, that's still in play. But anyway, all right. And obviously vaccines are becoming more and more available. They are readily available now in Westfield. At this stage of the game,
any of the
pharmacies, and that includes Walgreens, CVS, Arrow Drug up by the Pike. And again, you don't necessarily have to be computer savvy. I can tell you the Walgreens telephone number on Silver Street is 568-5116. Just call them. Same with the Big E vaccination site. I believe now the Big E is doing walk-ins. If you do have an appointment, you don't have to wait. You can go when your appointment is. But if you can't make the appointment, or you just feel like I'm not exactly sure when I'll get there, just go down and you can walk right in. For any senior in Westfield who needs transportation to a vaccination site, if you don't have family in the area and you need transportation, don't let that stop you. Just give us a call at the Senior Center, 562-6435, and we will get you to a vaccination site either at the Big E or somewhere right in Westfield. We can get you to one of the pharmacies in Westfield. I read in today's Westfield News that I guess they're doing some vaccines at Westfield High School and I think at the middle school tomorrow, I believe, May 27th.
I can't keep up on all that.
Yeah, I know. That was a little wonky.
I figured if you're in that school, you'd know about it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And if you don't know about it, get today's Westfield News because it's in the paper. It's a front page story. So.
Or ask somebody.
Ask somebody, right. Okay. So just a reminder that today is the scheduled last airing of The Way It Used to Be performance with Richie Mitnick and Joe Cimeri. I know Pete might sneak in another time or two before we hit the June 1st deadline here. But no, I take that back. Saturday would be the last one.
Right.
This Saturday, May 29th at 6 p.m. That's right. Yep. Nope. Sorry. I'm so focused on June 1st for everything happening at the center that
And it's in the schedule, so it's there.
It is in the schedule. So Richie Mitnick, Joe Cimeri. Watch it. It's on today at 2:40, Saturday at 6 p.m. If you haven't seen it, it's a great concert.
Actually, 2:35:23.
Okay, there it is. Okay, I think this is a good time to take a little break before I start getting into what's going to happen at the Senior Center coming up, because that's going to get rather involved. So let's take a break. I wanted another Western song in honor of the birthday of James Arness, Marshal Matt Dillon from Gunsmoke. And lo and behold, I found a song sung by Ken Curtis, who played Festus, who also, by the way, has a beautiful singing voice. And the song is called Tumbling Tumbleweeds. Here you go, Danny. Here's another Who Knew. So this is in honor of the birthday of James Arness. It's Ken Curtis singing Tumbleweeds. That's Festus, and we'll be back.
Ken Curtis.
Love to the ground, lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along with a tumbling tumbleweed. Cares of the past are behind, nowhere to go but I'll find just where the trail will wind, drifting along with a tumbling tumbleweed. I know when night has gone that a new world is born at dawn. I'll keep rolling along. Deep in my heart is a song. Here on the range I belong, drifting along with a tumbling tumbleweed. I know when night is gone that a new world is born at dawn. I'll keep rolling along. Deep in my heart is a song. Here on the range I belong, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:49. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So we have a full slate. We have second hour, Joe Rouse will be joining me, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield, talking all things COVID and beyond. And after that, at 8 o'clock, as you just heard, Harry Rock will be here with Rock on Westfield, and his guest will be the new director of the Westfield. The Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce,
Correct,
right?
yes.
Yeah, it's not just Westfield, includes surrounding areas. So that should be great. I think he just started his position within the last month. So it'll be nice to meet him. That should be a good interview. So let's talk about what's going to be happening at the Senior Center over the next 4 weeks or so. So this is your June. You can say you heard it here first on WCPC Cable Channel 15. So we are going to be implementing a hybrid model. I'm calling it the hybrid model, modeled sort of after the schools, for increasing programs and activities at the Senior Center. I'm going to start this by kind of making this statement, and I actually wrote an article for our newsletter with this information, and it is now being utilized throughout the Pioneer Valley, and I think probably across the state. And that is this. Every senior center in this area is doing something different in June. So do not say, well, why isn't Westfield doing this because Southwick is doing that and Agawam's doing that and how come Holyoke's doing that but you're not doing this? We are all doing something different. I'm going to tell you that right now. And part of that is because we were not given one set of guidelines for all the senior centers in the state to use. Part of the reason for that is because all the senior centers are different. Our buildings are different. I mean, we have a nice new building or a newer building, as do some of the other centers around here. Some of them are in, they're in church basements. They're in a classroom in a school. We have senior centers that are being built in the Pioneer Valley. So, like South Hadley is currently in a church basement. And so every time we have a Zoom meeting, we get to see the crucifix hanging behind, Leslie Hennessy. So they're all different. Staffing is different. A lot of the senior centers lost staff during the pandemic. They got laid off. They were furloughed. Money dried up. People weren't sure. People quit. People got scared. People got sick. So staffing is different. Our budgets are different. And because of all of those different factors, no two senior centers in the Pioneer Valley, I can tell you right now, are doing exactly the same thing on the same time schedule. But what I can tell you is this. The directors in the Pioneer Valley have been meeting every other Friday for 14 months. I mean, we are religious. We haven't missed one Friday that we were scheduled to meet. And we have supported each other. We have shared ideas. We've shared resources. That's why all the directors think Pete is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because he's like Mr. Media, and most of them don't have a Mr. Media. But we've shared some of those things. We've shared some of the things we've taped here with other senior centers. And so what I can tell you is this. The common denominator is that we're all doing the very best we can with the tools that we have to work with, the budgets, and our town administrators, and our local boards of health.
Right.
In the end, the state keeps telling us, work it out with your board of health. Work it out with your town administrator. Work it out with your mayor or your selectman or your city council.
They create the mess and figure it out on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we're trying to do. And there is no one size fits all for this. So if you want to drive through my lunch line and tell me, well, why aren't we doing this because Agawam is doing that? I'm going to tell you that, well, I'm doing this and Agawam's not. And
right.
Agawam's
and their
doing
facility's
that. And
smaller than yours and things like that.
They're all actually, it's larger. Agawam is larger.
Because it's 2 floors.
Yeah.
I've been in the basement.
But, anyway, but it's irrelevant. And the other thing was, as I mentioned earlier in the show, some of the senior center directors their June newsletter had already gone to publication. Well, you can't change it now. It's already out there. I mean, I was lucky enough that mine was, although it was written, I hadn't sent it to Jim Corwin over at the Westfield News yet, and that's who does our publication. So I had the luxury of rewriting the whole thing and, planning ahead. All right, so here's our hybrid model for you folks. First of all, there are some basic COVID protocols that we're going to follow. Anyone wishing to participate in any of the programs that we're going to offer in June, you have to register in advance because we are limiting the size. We are limiting capacity. We're not throwing open the doors and everybody can come in. So you have to register in advance. Every single person who participates in any kind of a program has to sign an updated release of liability form. Now, we used to have that form just for people who did the fitness classes. I have worked at length with the law department, and thank you to attorney Jack Fitzgerald, who helped me to rewrite the release of liability form. But everybody who participates in anything, if you don't sign the form, you're not participating. all the senior center participants have to follow the parking lot traffic flow patterns. We are changing the parking lot patterns. This is really important. We changed things up for the curbside lunches, and because we are going to continue with curbside lunches through the month of June and probably into July, we're keeping our traffic flow pattern the same. So I've been working with Casey Berube and with Jay Vinsky from the planning department and the DPW to put new signage up. Everybody's going to enter the parking lot just like they do for lunches every day, which is the far entrance off of Murphy Circle. So as if you were heading toward Dolan Eli Apartments, everybody's going to come in that way, and everybody's going to go out the other way, which is the exit is closest to the senior center building. I know that's going to take some time for people to get used to, other than the lunch people who have been doing it for 14 months. But we're going to follow that traffic flow. As I said, we'll continue to offer meals in June, and we are encouraging people, wash your hands frequently. We'll have hand sanitizer all over the place, so no excuses for that. Finally, and this is probably most important, if you have not been fully vaccinated for COVID-19, the Westfield Council on Aging strongly encourages you to consider your safety and the safety of others by not entering the Westfield Senior Center building. The potential danger to yourself and others is simply not worth the risk. During the pandemic, please be cognizant of your own personal health and safety, as well as that of others around you. So we're not saying if you're not vaccinated, you can't come in, but we are saying we wouldn't encourage it for your own safety. So, that's your decision to make. You're an adult. Choose wisely. Enter at your own risk. All right. While we institute this hybrid model of bringing some programs back, I want you to rest assured Channel 15 programming will continue. So all the things that we've set up during the pandemic, which people are really liking, they're participating, all the fitness programs that, Pete has that is airing on Monday through, Sunday, every day of the week. We have fitness programs every day of the week, right? They will continue at the same times that we've been doing them. We will continue with the Westfield Council on Aging Series Presents. As Pete mentioned, Harry interviewed our June guest Monday, I think it was. So that will be aired, as it has been, Tuesday afternoons. Our monthly entertainment, at least for now, will continue. That was taped yesterday, so we're excited about our entertainment for June. So that will, again, be Wednesday afternoons and Saturday evening. That will stay. All right. Tomorrow afternoon, you will see a tent erected on the grounds of the parking lot grounds of the senior center. So we will be holding some programs under the tent. Our fitness programs, we'll be doing some early morning fitness programs. Those will be under the tent. They'll be outside. We're not opening the fitness room yet. That will come probably in July. We're working that out. Under the tent fitness programs will be Carol Palmer's Totally Fun Fitness. She's going to offer it 2 times in June, the first and the last Wednesday from 9 to 10. That, again, remember, everything is pre-registration, and we do have size limits on classes. All of this is in the June newsletter, so all the registration. But Carol's, because her first class is a week from today, it's next Wednesday, which is June 2nd. Registration for her will be Tuesday, June 1st. And I'm trying to look at what time. Between 10 and 10:30 in the morning is when you're going to register. So I just want to make sure that word gets out there. Pete's going to scroll that under her fitness class today, so people are aware of that. Because that was the one thing that people may not have the newsletter before they have to register for that class. So Carol's class will be offered twice in June. The mail call class will be offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9. That's our all-mail class. So we're in the process of contacting those who were sort of the regulars. They'll be registering for that a week at a time. And again, it's you're going to pre-register in advance, first come, first serve, as you call in, just like we do for lunches. And then we're going to have under the tent line dancing on Friday mornings, again, with pre-registration. So all the pre-registration information is neatly explained in the newsletter. So those will be the under the tent programs. Meals will continue at the curb. So that'll be our at the curb. And then we have what I'm calling the under the roof programs. And those will be some of the programs that we'll be holding indoors We're going to start small, a couple times, pre-registration for everything. But the list of those programs, we're going to be doing Chess with Les. So we'll bring back the chess players. We're going to bring back the Art Unlimited class. We're going to bring back the Sassy Stitchers Knit and Crochet group. We're going to bring back the Peacemakers Quilting group. All of the indoor programs and activities will be done in the afternoon. So we're not following the same schedule we used to follow. You know, the Sassy Stitchers used to meet on Wednesday mornings. That's not going to happen. They're going to meet in the afternoon. All of these programs are in the afternoon because we're still doing curbside lunches. So we still are using the rooms to get the lunches set up. And also, I just don't want any accidents with pedestrians. And so that's why the fitness classes will be under the tent in the morning. They will be gone before the lunch crew comes in. We'll get the lunch crew done. They will be gone before the afternoon programs start. Again, we're starting small. Everything's not starting on June 1st. We've staggered the starts because we still do have some limited staffing. Also, we have some issues to work out with that as well. And then we are going to do bingo one time during the month of June indoors for a limited number of people. And again, there will be a pre-registration. That'll be like the middle of the month. And that, again, will be in the afternoon. So that's a lot to digest. I think it is 7:01 and it's time to take a break. So you are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We will be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:04. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
Pete, we didn't talk about, who's meeting tonight? There must be someone.
There's always someone.
We usually go through the meeting listing.
Let's see.
A little bit. What do we have going on tonight?
Let me pop up the calendar because I don't even know until I actually look at the calendar. Tonight, just a flood control commission special meeting.
Oh, okay. That sounds
I know
easy.
That's it. Well, no, those could last hours. You never know.
Okay. Yeah.
Tomorrow's the big day.
Tomorrow. What's tomorrow?
School building committee at 5. The budget presentation at 6 to the city council.
And that's the budget presentation from the mayor, right?
Right. Yeah, mayor's budget presentation, and then zoning, planning, and development is meeting after that at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Have fun with that, Pete.
Yeah.
That one's going to be a long night. Well, of course, I think when the mayor presents
the presentation
budget,
is the quick part. I think
yeah,
it's just kind of presented. There's general comments.
Here you go.
General comments, and then they scheduled the public hearings already scheduled for 10 days afterwards.
Yep.
City council meeting next week moved to the 2nd because of graduations.
Oh, okay. I did not know
Westfield
that.
Tech is Thursday, and Westfield High School is Friday, both at Bullins. So city council moved to Wednesday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. All right.
Next week's going to be busy.
It's budget time. You know, it's the city
Well,
council reviewing
graduations.
budget, graduation time.
Then the week after that, they start there's a week in between, and then they start the budget hearings.
The budget hearings with the individual departments. We haven't gotten this. I haven't gotten the schedule yet. It's probably. I mean, it may be out there.
I know
when we're supposed to meet with them.
Councilor Figge has reserved the time to actually have the meetings. I don't think he's put out a schedule yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll get it. I'm sure we'll get it. It's like, here you go. This is when you have to show up. Okay, I do want to make one announcement. I met yesterday with the new priest who is over at St. Mary's Parish, whose name I can't remember. He looks like he's 12. I mean, he's really like Father Doogie Hauser. So nice. And with Kathleen Ango-Vuig, who is the pastoral minister, I believe is her title. Anyway, they are sponsoring tonight a program called Learn More About Mental Health and Wellness, because May is National Mental Health Month. And it's a Zoom, but remember, folks, if you don't have a computer, you can call in. So I have the flyers for this, which, as you can see here, is rather, there's a lot of information in this. So we're going to be passing these flyers out at lunchtime today. It's got all of the Zoom information. It's got the meeting ID, the passcode. It's from 6 to 7 o'clock tonight. And it's a whole focus on mental health. And it should really be excellent. If you're at all interested, just come through just come to the senior center, and we'll give you a flyer. If you just want to drive through, you can come at around 11:30. That's kind of the tail end of when we're giving out lunches, and we will be happy to give you a flyer. If you can't make that time frame, just come sometime this afternoon, ring the doorbell, and we will make sure that you get a flyer so you have that information. Okay. So a couple more things about the scaling up of operations at the Senior Center next month. A few things. Number one, I mentioned before that everyone will be signing a release of liability form, and the release of liability form is actually a front and a back. So on the front is all the legal stuff that the law department helped with. On the back, there are the COVID-19 protocols, and just to reiterate a few of these. We are asking people to maintain a reasonable physical distance from both COA staff and other non-family senior center participants, so don't come in and start hugging everybody all over the place. We are also telling people you may not move tables and chairs around. When we set up for these programs in June, we are doing it with distance in mind and room capacity in mind. So you need to leave things exactly where they are, because they're not arbitrarily placed. They have been strategically placed. And again, make sure that you're washing your hands frequently. Using the hand sanitizer, we'll have that we'll have it under the tent for those doing fitness. We'll have it throughout the building for those who are coming into the building. And if you are not fully vaccinated, you need to correctly and consistently wear a face mask that covers both your nose and your mouth. And obviously, stay home if you're not feeling well. And we have a whole list of symptoms that if you have any of these, please stay home. So that's that. Now, one more thing before we bring in Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health, who will be joining us momentarily. Today, May 26th, is National Senior Health and Fitness Day. So what better time to talk about this than before we bring in the Director of Public Health? A nationwide health and fitness event for older adults, always held on the last Wednesday in May during Older Americans Month. May is Older Americans Month. We're at the tail end of it. To promote the importance of regular physical activity and to showcase what local organizations are doing to improve the health and fitness of older adults in their communities. So if you want to know what we're doing here in Westfield to improve the health and fitness of older adults in our communities, well, first of all, listening to WSKB radio or watching cable channel 15 with the Wake Up Wednesday show for information on health-related topics. For those of you who are new to if you're new viewers, if you're part of our new viewing audience, the first Wednesday of the month, we have Dr. Gary Gorman. Yes, he is related as my guest. Gary's a local chiropractor. He's been practicing for over 40 years and, talks about all kinds of good health, physical, nutrition, mental, so forth. On the third Wednesday of the month, we host Jen DeFunis here and does the Diabetes Dialogue segment. That's on the second. That's the second hour of the third Wednesday. She's a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. And, we always mention the fact that although Jen does Diabetes Dialogue, what she talks about, especially with food and nutrition, is really appropriate for everyone. It's all about good nutrition and good healthy eating. And then on the fourth Wednesday of the month, Director Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health, joins us, and he's on deck. He just entered the building. And as I said before, in June, we will be starting our fitness classes under the tent. Remember that you must pre-register for all classes. The schedule is in the June Voice of Experience newsletter. Our classes that we're going to start with in June are the mail call class. That's an all-male class. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Totally Fun Fitness with Carol Palmer. That'll be on the first and last Wednesday of the month. And then Line Dancing with Clara Sanborn and Sue Jorgensen. That will be every Friday from 9 to 10. Now, in order to get the newsletter, if you subscribe to the Westfield News, you will get it on Saturday. If you don't and you would like the copy immediately on Saturday by 8 o'clock in the morning, I have them out in the bin. There's a tan bin with a green cover, a fern green cover right near the senior center front door. Open the bin, take as many copies as you want, distribute them to your friends and family. We make sure that the bin is always stacked with the latest newsletter. And then on Tuesday, because remember, Monday's a holiday, it's Memorial Day, so we will not be open. So on Tuesday, we will get those newsletters distributed to the local pharmacies and, kind of throughout the city as best we can. It's also available online, and I will make sure that it is available, even though Monday's a holiday. We'll try to get it online a little bit earlier. So you can just go to the city website. Under Departments, click on Council on Aging. That'll bring you to our website, scroll all the way down, and it'll have the latest edition of the newsletter. That'll have the menu in it on page 2. It has all of the Channel 15 listings on page 2, and the rest of it, I apologize in advance. There are no photos this month. It is just chock full of information, schedules, how to pre-register for all of these various programs. So that's what we're looking at, folks. So all good. All right. It is almost 7:14. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My guest, Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health, as I said, is on deck and in the building. We're going to bring him in with his song.
He's chomping at the bit.
He's chomping at the bit. Good to Be Alive, Hallelujah by Andy Grammer.
Just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bassline move, just say yeah. It's good to be alive right about now.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. What's the matter, Joe?
This is all new.
I was going over to the CG to call up your picture, but you know you're here.
Oh, that's right. You don't have to. And here he is.
Here I am. Yeah.
In person.
Wow.
In
live
real,
and in color.
Live and in person.
The cameras
is
are all different. It's
Joe
all
Rouse, director. He doesn't know where to look. He's
I
like, wait, where am I going?
Am I over here?
You're
When I
you're
cut
right
to the single
there.
shot, you're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm over there.
You're
okay.
yes.
I see
very
the
good.
red lights.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great.
You're like all over the place.
Training over.
Not just a little red light on the top of your laptop.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
Am I on mute?
No, unmute yourself. Yes, Pete and I have a list of sayings and words that we never want to hear again after the pandemic. So, and I know we've talked about this. Mine is
Here's the
pit.
biggest one.
Go ahead.
You are muted.
Yeah.
You're muted. Unmute yourself. But no, Pete's was one, and I agree with you. Pete's was unprecedented. We've
God,
heard that.
please
Yeah,
let
we've
that
heard
go.
that. Mine is pivot, because if they tell the senior centers to pivot one more time, I mean, I'm just spinning. That's all I do is pivot. Yours is fluid. I know we've talked
Fluid
about that.
And efficacy. I
Oh,
don't wanna hear
efficacy,
that.
that's-
I don't want to hear that.
It's another one we never want to hear again.
No.
So we're building our, vocabulary that we
Wow.
never want to use again.
Pretty
Mr.
soon.
Webster, please retire these words.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, and pretty soon you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to listen to anybody. You can go about your business and just be normal
That'd
all
be
over.
nice.
The new normal.
The new normal.
is ready to
We're
go.
talking about the new normal.
Mhm.
So Joe Rouse is Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. So Joe, I don't even know where to start, so I'm just going to let you jump right in and decide where you would like to start. There's so much to talk about.
There is so much to talk about.
All right.
Well, let's talk about moving forward. So
Okay.
we're at the point now where, as people probably know, May 29th, we're going to enter into a whole new level of COVID phase 4.
Phraseology here.
Step last, whatever.
Step last.
What-
We've lost track of where we
I don't
are.
know.
Yes.
So, and that's going to be with the removal of the mask mandate. So, tricky part of that whole thing is right now I can't get too detailed about it because the order hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
So we have had some, and I know it's made it out into the news about what that order potentially will contain, and it is that basically there's going to be no capacity limits, no gathering size limits anymore. So everything reverts back to pre-COVID with that in that respect, and then the masks are going to be not required, especially for vaccinated people. So yeah, what?
Sorry.
Oh.
That's okay. I was going to say, Pete, we're getting whatever background is going on over there. Okay, go ahead.
And so the masks are going to be able to come off. There's certain conditions that people will still need to, and I don't know if it's going to be an extension of the existing order or if it'll just be highly recommended that unvaccinated people still wear masks. And then there's certain situations where I think it's going to be the recommendation for like congregate living settings and public transit. I'm thinking that's probably going to go in the way of an order modification, where that will still be required for a certain period of time. But for the general
That's my
public,
understanding. Is that
but we don't know until we see the actual language of the order, because we've been fooled before. So I don't want to.
One never knows.
I don't want to give wrong information. But let's just say for the general public, it's safe to say that on Saturday, you will be able to not have to wear a mask when you go into grocery stores, convenience stores, church, things like that. And I mean, you can wear a mask if you'd like, and I know a lot of people.
And you know what? And I think that's a good point, Joe. And I was going to mention that is that it's interesting even among my own staff. You know, we've had that conversation with, how do you feel about that? You know, a lot of people are not ready to give it up yet. I mean, some people are like, oh, I can't wait to get this mask off. I hate it, blah blah blah. And I think there are a lot of us that are sort of in the middle there. It's like, okay, well, you know, with my, you know, people that I've been around, people that I know are vaccinated, my family, and, you know, my coworkers and things like that. It'll be nice to kind of ditch it and get that freedom. But I'm not ready to go into. I personally am just not ready to go into a grocery store yet, and without my mask. I feel like it's almost a security blanket. And I really I was watching the news. It was either last night or the night before, and Mayor Sarno was talking about that, and he said, and I really appreciated him saying this, you know, please, for those of you who want to ditch the mask, if you're fully vaccinated and, you know, that's the latest order, go ahead, but please don't, kind of put people down if they're not ready to do that, or, you know, if they have physical health problems or vulnerabilities that we don't know about, you know, that put them at risk, and they need it for their own protection. So I think that's important as well.
Yeah, and it really is case by case, and some people, like you said, that might have underlying conditions. You know, the masks are great, and there's a reason for why our flu numbers are just completely fell off the cliff this year. And it's because of masks, and it's because of the social distancing or physical distancing and all of the control measures that we used. So it's a good common practice, excuse me, I think, for especially for people who are immunocompromised. You can freely keep that. I don't think there's going to be a stigma. I really don't, because
I hope it's less of what people got that couldn't wear masks during the pandemic. Some of those people got verbally abused in stores and things like that.
Right.
And that's just as wrong.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so with that, I mean, you see now even on the news where there's fights that are happening on airlines and stuff for people who aren't wearing masks. So I think the general populace has become very accustomed and comfortable with people wearing masks. So it's not going to be like, you know, the scarlet letter if you're wearing a mask now. I think it's going to be more like, oh, okay, but I don't have to, or I choose not to. And you know, I'm going to love it only in the sense, for me personally, that I can't count how many times I've gotten out of the car to go into a store and forgot my mask.
You got halfway there. Darn.
But it really is, it'll be a personal choice. And I don't think there'll be that stigma. I think we've gone long enough where people know the advantages of wearing it. And if you choose to continue, I'm sure there'll be situations where I will also, I'll always have one with me. But you know, the thing is that it's really at that point now where I guess the media isn't doing enough coverage of the real good news that's happening, and the reason for why this got bumped up from August 1st to May 29th for a release of the mask mandate. And we'll only talk about Westfield because that's what we're here for. But I would say right now we're going to report out today on Wednesday, when we usually do, another steep decrease in new active cases,
which is phenomenal.
We're going to be in the single digits. Our isolation cases will be in the single digits again, like 7 or 8 weeks in a row with 0 new related deaths. So you see the numbers, and like I've always said before, the numbers aren't everything. There's other metrics that you have to look at, and we do. And when you put those all together, it is certainly time for us to and for the governor to release us from the mask mandate, and and the gathering limitations.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Joe, too, is that, Pete and I were talking earlier, and I was giving the latest information on vaccines for homebound. I mean, we are really at the point where if you want a vaccine, it's very easy to get one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go out of Westfield. I mean, all the pharmacies have them. If you do go out of Westfield, if you want to go to the Big E, it's close by. They've got them. You can do it as a walk-in. You no longer have to be computer savvy and, at your computer for 12 hours pushing the refresh button and, trying to deal with all that stuff. And even for the homebound, they have, this week they released a new phone number for the homebound program. And, again, very easy. Whereas, like, I can tell you a month ago, Deb Mulvena and I were struggling through that. And, she was trying to do the, the legwork on the computer work to get people registered. But just how the state was defining homebound, it was so the restrictions was ridiculous. Yeah. And now it's basically, look, if you can't get out to get a vaccine, we'll come to you.
Yep.
Call us up. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Right.
It's the toilet paper thing all over again, which is what I was saying. Remember how back when I remember telling people
Don't
this.
remind me of the toilet paper.
But I remember telling people this. My staff that's how we were talking people off the ledge back in February and March when they wanted a vaccine. You couldn't get one. The closest place was the Eastfield Mall. And I said to him, listen, if you can hang on for a few months, it's going to be like toilet paper. Remember toilet paper when the pandemic first started? You couldn't get it. I said, now you want toilet paper? You go anywhere. Go to a pharmacy. Go to the, go to the Big Y. Go to the Stop and Shop. And people were laughing, but it did really help to calm them down. Well, it's toilet paper all over. Right. You want a vaccine? You can get a vaccine. There's no reason why. And we are providing, through the Council on Aging, we will help people with transportation. So if that, even to a local pharmacy, like I can't, I don't drive, I don't have family in the area. I just need to get to CVS or Walgreens or Our Drug, whatever. Call us. Yep. We'll get you there. I have volunteers that are.
There's just tons of toilet paper examples about that.
Exactly,
and even things like, for the youth sports and now especially with outdoor sports and baseball and softball and things where 2 weeks ago people were jumping up and down just mad, like, why do the kids need to wear masks when they're on the baseball field? They're social distanced. They're not even using the benches and the dugouts. They're setting up their own chairs outside along the fence line. And the whole time when that was, I understand what they were saying. However, again, it's a toilet paper thing. You got to be patient. The whole time I would say, and right from the very beginning, and people can criticize the governor and all of the, the measures that he's taken. I'm sure that's it's ripe for criticism. However, from my perspective, what I would say is the plan all along has been very sound. It has been, you have to let the system that was put into place was not just some haphazard thing.
Right.
And people need to understand that there are people behind the scenes that have been preparing for this for many, many years. And we have myself and another person in the department who are in that same category where whether we like it or not, it's been part of our jobs for 20 years. And so those plans and the system that was developed to deal with this pandemic was very sound and very logical. The timing sometimes was not so advantageous to society in our area, but that's a lesson learned. And so, again, it was always, remember how many times we had to say, be patient, be patient, be patient. Let the system work. Let the plan work. Let the governor's not making these decisions on his own. He doesn't wake up in the morning and say, oh, today I'm going to make people stay 6 feet apart. It's all based on Health Advisory Board members from across the state, medical, scientific professionals. So the plan's always been great. The timing has been not to everyone's satisfaction, but if you just let it play out the way it's supposed to, you'll get to that point that you want to be, which is where we are now.
Yep, sounds good. Well, on that happy note, it's time to take a little break here because it is, National Senior Health and Fitness Day or something like that. I lost my notes. No, wait. National Senior Health and Fitness Day, which is the last Wednesday in May of Older Americans Month. So we're going to listen to Katrina and the Waves singing "Walking on Sunshine." You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. WCPC Cable Channel 15. Joe Rouse is my guest this morning from the Department of Health, and we'll be back.
Radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Join us every Thursday morning
From 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show.
Right here on WSKB 89.5.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:36. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. Pete Coles is in the studio behind the glass over there, and my guest this morning in person, live and in person.
Thank you.
Is Joe Rouse. Pete is so into the sound effects now because I was listening to Bob Plass's show yesterday. Wow, it's
I was
Tuesday.
just messing with Bob yesterday.
you had 1,000 sound effects. But Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health, is with us this morning.
I'm here.
Yes, he's really here in person without a face mask because we're 6 feet apart. Because right now today that rule still stands. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Joe, help us to understand because I think a lot of people got very confused. We certainly my staff and I were thinking, okay, we're looking at that August 1st as kind of what we anticipate to be a fairly full reopening for most out in the community. Again, this doesn't necessarily apply to very vulnerable populations, which of course I have a vulnerable population, so we're kind of on the fence here a little bit, but. How was it that suddenly we went from, August 1st to May 29th? That was a really big jump. What happened to June and July? Mm-hmm. And I know, I have to tell you, I was off the charts upset until I was on the phone with you at 7 o'clock in the morning last week going, what are we doing? And you explained it to me. So it would really be helpful, I think, if you explained to our viewing audience, how is it possible that we went from, like an 8-week earlier or whatever it was, opening date, sort of reopening. How did that happen?
Well, it's kind of goes along with what I've been saying for a long time, and some people take exception to it, but it's true. A lot of the reaction of us, people in public health, is based on people's actions. So what has happened was, and another thing is, all along, I would always say things change quickly, the fluidity and all that. And it's just the way it is with this because it's new to everybody, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know what to expect. We can't anticipate anything. And so when the governor came out with his phase 4 plan, which was the be-all to end-all, right? He said over a year ago, when we get to phase 4, we will be at the new normal. There will be a viable treatment. There will be vaccine, and we will go into phase 4, which we did. And with that part of the plan, he threw out a whole bunch of dates to when restrictions would be loosened up and orders would be rescinded or modified. And that, I don't know how they came up with the August 1st date. It was just probably some arbitrary thing, like let's set a date far enough away so that, they can't hold it to us. We're pretty sure that by then, after the summer, that people, are going to be, the case numbers will be down. So. But what happened is just like like the opposite of everything that has happened so far, where you have to make these adjustments based on what we were just talking about during the break. I was always saying, I'm the Chicken Little of Westfield. It's like, whoa, the numbers are good, but wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, we have holidays coming. We have vacations. We have winter vacations. We're still all cramped up inside. And we saw that.
Yeah,
really
absolutely,
happened,
absolutely.
And it was always sort of anticipated. You're going to see the numbers jump.
We'll see a surge.
We'll see a surge. It's temporary. It's expected. But what happened with that August 1st one is all of a sudden, the actions of people were such that we could move that up to May 29th because of vaccination rates. So that was always the plan, and another metric that you look at, the vaccination rates. So you say, wow, we in Massachusetts, we're doing really well, way better than anybody thought we would a month, 2 months ago.
So you're saying the herd did its job?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Basically, right now, I mean, they always say you want to look at about 70% vaccination rate to say herd immunity. And in Massachusetts, we're kind of leading the country in that. And so regardless of what happens in New York, Connecticut, I mean, everybody tries to be on the same page because you don't want people crossing state lines to do business so they can, not have to wear a mask or not have to be holden to gathering limits or something. But really in Massachusetts, our numbers, our new case counts, all of those things I talked about before, hospitalizations, isolations, quarantines, just went boom. And all of a sudden, just the bottom fell out. And again, it's not a mystery as to why that happened. But when it did, I think the administration responded appropriately and said, and good for them, because it's not everybody that knows what those specific numbers are and models and everything. And they certainly do at the governor's office and his administration. So he could have left us hanging. He could have just said, "Yeah, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm afraid there's going to be something else coming around. So let's just keep it August 1st." But he didn't. He responded appropriately, said, "This is the time now where, and especially in the Commonwealth, where we have 70% of people that have been either fully or partially vaccinated." That's huge. And so with that, and to all the skeptics, I would say, this is what we've all been working tirelessly for over a year, is to get to this point, where a just regular citizen can feel comfortable with proceeding business as usual, like it was 2 years ago. And so that May 29th just popped up, and it was a surprise to everybody, believe me. Like you were just saying, you didn't hardly get any notice. We got 3 hours notice before he had his press conference. Yeah. And
we got zero, but our seniors were certainly happy to inform us after they watched the governor on TV, as they usually are.
Yeah. So it snuck up, but it's a good thing. It was I had a conversation over the weekend with some people in my family from other states. It was interesting because one's from Virginia, one's from New York, a couple of them from New York. So you get that other interstate perspective. And even within my own family, people very close to me, that some of them are like, "I'm wearing my mask. I don't care. I don't believe that this is, what a difference between those few months. Now all of a sudden we're okay. How is this possible?" So there's that, and then there's the ones that go, "You know what? This has got to end at some point, right?" Really, I mean, and I don't mean end like never have COVID again. I mean be under control. And have all those control measures, still in place when they're needed for, like we were talking about, immunocompromised, comorbidity people. But for the general public, I mean, come on, we can't go on like this forever. And that is so against everything that I've said all along, because I've always been ultra conservative and saying, nope, not ready for that. Nope, not ready for that. Let's wait. Let's see what happens. Give me another 2 weeks. I need a 2-week sample size. If I had a dime for every time you said that,
there's another one.
Yeah. So right, then there's 2-week sample size, and then, but now, no, I'm not saying that. I mean, I think that even if you go back to last summer, where we did flatten the curve, we were begging and pleading, flatten the curve. That was a big campaign.
Yes, flatten the curve.
And we did, did last summer. I mean, that was almost a year ago. And we were in a similar situation where we had 0 new cases, on probably 3 consecutive days, but for a different reason. Back then it was because people were listening to the public health control measures and staying home, social distancing, a lot of hand contact, surface stuff, masks, all that. That worked fantastic. But then, maybe got a little disenchanted with that, and then we headed into the winter, and
as you pointed out before too, Joe, last summer people were outside. I mean, there was a lot of outside stuff going on because that was kind of the only way you could socialize. So people did that. It's like, okay, meet me in my backyard, and here, we put the chairs 6 feet apart, and and that worked. And so I think right now, I think one of the things that's happening, at least at the senior center, and not just mine, at all the senior centers in the Pioneer Valley, we're all kind of looking to say, what were the changes that we made because we had to make them? And even though we're starting to scale up operations, is the phrase that we like to use, what are some of those changes that we made that really worked that we're going to keep? One of the things you and I were talking about on the phone last week was, I said, well, we had already ordered the tent for thinking, we're thinking again, like toward August, and we ordered the tent for some outdoor programming. As you were saying, that's a great idea. Some early morning, fresh air, outdoor fitness programming under the tent. Good idea. Now, we would have never done that, obviously, if it weren't for COVID. But, let's see how that works out. Let's see how people like it.
Yeah,
So
I think they're going to love it.
Yeah.
I mean, and with your facility, it's like that even in private businesses now. I mean, some of the small businesses that have had to do things they never would have done before.
Yep.
Talking about stirring up the status quo, and restaurants, bars, those places that or bars that became restaurants just so they could be open, whereas maybe they just always used to serve just drinks. You're just going for drinks. Yeah, maybe have pretzels or something like that. But now they have kitchens.
Maybe some
they're
sandwiches.
producing food. And I always used to say, I've said it before, you guys might have a menu of things that you need to have to serve, but you might find one thing that you just do really well, that everybody loves.
That's
and
your
then
specialty.
Now you have to keep that forever and ever because people say, oh, did you go to this
go
place?
there for, their wings or whatever.
Whatever, soup, chili, whatever it is. So there is good parts that come out of it, and now I think we get to reap the rewards of all of the due diligence that we've done in the public. The public, and one last thing that I just got to say about it is that there's been a lot of criticism politically about the handling of COVID in the state, in the country, and fortunately not so much in the city. And I have to give kudos to Mayor Humison because the one thing that did not happen in this city was COVID was never made political.
I agree.
And so it left us to be able to do our job unhindered, to be effective, and to not always have in the back of your head that, geez, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't say this because it's going to have a political backlash. That never happened. And so people can be as critical as they want of the mayor. Originally it was, we're not sending out enough information to people. Well, there's a whole bunch of different reasons for that too. At some point, you just really have to trust that the people that you've elected or people that are in their positions that are experts are going to be able to do their job and have your best interest in mind. I know that sounds like a typical government employee, but in this particular case, I've always appreciated that the mayor and the city council have not interjected themselves into this. Let us run with it. Let us do what we needed to do. But then always have expressed that if you need anything, let us know. So not totally hands off, but also not trying to step over that line. So I just wanted to make sure that, and I am very thankful that because I see other communities.
So do I.
Where all
I hear it.
do is
I
you
hear
see-
it from other directors.
And there's a neighboring community that did something, multiple things that just walked all over that public health director, and that person had no choice but to just get trampled by the political system.
Yeah, it is what it is. And, we've seen that. We're seeing that now, even among the senior centers. Some of us we have a lot more independence in terms of working with our staff. And as we have been, it's like, trust us, we've been doing this for 14 months. We are doing a slow, gradual, cautious opening. Again, seniors are a vulnerable population. And although we have a lot of our seniors vaccinated, we still have more than I'm happy with who have not been vaccinated yet. now we're trying to tease out why is that? Is it availability? Is it transportation? Is it information, education? I mean, there are all kinds of reasons. Philosophy, everything, religion. I mean, there are 100 different reasons. But yeah, I've seen in some of the other communities where, senior center directors who had a plan last week. It's like, but now my town administrator, my, selectman, my mayor, whatever is saying, no, you're going to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's real. That is not a good place to be.
Yeah, and I've always said, for years, even before COVID, that Westfield kind of does its own thing, being very, but whoever the administration is, council, law department personnel, mayor, it is always different.
Yeah.
And we seem to be able to bring it all together, and we don't get sucked into that whole political rhetoric and, somebody that wants to be the smartest person in the room all the time.
Yep.
And that carried over into COVID and with this administration as well. So, but you're right. I've seen neighboring communities, I'm not talking about out east.
Yeah. No, in the Pioneer Valley.
Where there's a problem when you're talking about COVID, when the mayor is the spokesperson.
Yes.
For what the current status is about the science and the medicine of COVID.
I agree.
And when you don't have your experts addressing that, which he has allowed us to do in Westfield, that always speaks to me to be somewhat dysfunctional. I mean, the governor does it, but everybody knows he has a health advisory board.
Absolutely.
That, he, not saying he's a puppet to them, but he certainly doesn't just go off on his own all rogue and decide that he's going to prepare this order or do that. It's all based on science.
Right, absolutely. All right, let's take a break here, and when we come back, we'll have just a couple minutes to wrap this all up. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My guest this morning, if you're just joining us, is Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. We're going to listen in honor of the birthday of Stevie Nicks. We're going to listen to Fleetwood Mac singing Dreams, and we'll be
distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardy siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Okay.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:57. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. My guest this morning has been Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health. So we have been talking, obviously, all things COVID, which I feel like we've been discussing for the last 14 months.
I hope it's the last time. I would love to come in here next month with a whole different topic.
I know there are some other things going on out there, public health wise, that we do need to discuss.
We're going to need to talk about ticks.
Mosquitoes. That's like my big thing is we need to talk about ticks because I understand it is a big tick year. So we definitely are going to have.
Ticks are brutal this year.
Absolutely.
Yes, I know. So we need to be careful. So we'll spend a lot of time next month talking about that because now that people will be outside without masks and so forth, they'll be able to do that. And I would just like to wrap up because we have Harry Rock on deck now with Rock on Westfield. He'll have the new director of the Chamber of Commerce as his guest. So that's coming up in about 3 minutes. But, I just want to say, Joe, before you came on, Pete and I were talking about the fact that if you are not vaccinated yet and you want to get a vaccine, whether you're homebound, and if I gave the number out for the homebound, but if you didn't write it down, you didn't get it, just call the senior center. My whole staff, everybody has that on their, it's like taped to their computer. Here's the homebound number. You can get vaccinated. You can go to any of the pharmacies. I think now, I know at the Big E, they are doing walk-ins.
Yep.
I don't know if they're doing walk-ins I know sometimes the pharmacies have been doing walk-ins.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's there. But the other thing is, if you're hesitant, now, you can say it's like, I was vaccinated a month ago. I'm way past my 2 weeks. Joe was vaccinated. We're here to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I did have some, we had some side effects, but nothing. I mean, first of all, nothing that lasted more than a day.
Right.
And nothing. My biggest side effect was I had a really bad headache, but beyond that, it was just fatigue, and I slept away an entire day.
Sure. Yeah.
And my husband said to me, that was exactly what you needed. He goes, you never get enough sleep.
Right.
He goes, so that was perfect.
Yeah.
So that was a perfect reaction. But there's lots of information online.
And there is,
you know,
yeah.
there's
And
just
we're
a
actually
ton
going to
of
be doing
information.
more focus now that we have kind of the general populace that does have a handle on getting vaccinated or has been vaccinated. So now the model suggests is you kind of go into the specialized population.
Yes.
So
Yep.
you're doing the homebound.
Yep.
We're going to isolate more of the refugee and immigrant
Yep.
population. So
Yep.
that's a meeting that I have later today where we're going to be able to get vaccine from a health clinic in the area. So we focus on all those populations that may have been not intentionally left out of the system, but maybe not as educated or
And sometimes language is a barrier.
language is a
it's
barrier.
just trying to
Sometimes
understand that.
belief systems
Yep.
get in the way, which
Cultural,
you have to dispel
religion.
that.
Yep.
This isn't
Absolutely.
what you probably think it is, and so that'll really boost up our percentages once we hit those specialty populations. So
Yeah.
it's all looking good.
We're off and
for
running.
the first time, I actually feel like I always said. I think we're touching the light now at the end of the tunnel. And
Yeah.
for a while, I said there was a light, but there wasn't because we were still building the tunnel. Remember
Yep,
when I
yep,
said that? I didn't know we were
absolutely.
still building the tunnel.
Yep.
But now we're done. Tunnel's done. Light's there. We're touching
We're
it.
there.
Enjoy life. Get out there and enjoy the weather. Although today's going to be a little warm. But after that, just don't try not to get hung up on the past of. I know people will still think that it's too early and stuff. I'm telling you, it's not. But you can make your own.
That's all right. Put your toe in the water, and I think that's the way a lot of us will do it, a day at a time. And, then it'll all work out. All right, Joe, Harry Rock is chomping at the bit here. He's ready for his show. Joe, final words?
Stay healthy, my friends.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental, comprehensive dentistry.